My girlfriend took my credit card to sponsor all her friends on a vacation to Miami, all the while lying to me that she was just going to visit her seriously ill parents. $15,000 charged to a Miami resort in 3 days, flagged by the bank, while she claimed to be with her dying parents. My credit card got drained, trust broke apart, and the real story was about to come out fast, so here's the rundown. I'm a 29-year-old guy, been with my girlfriend, let's call her Sarah, for 3 years. She's 27, works part-time at a coffee shop, and lately, she's been glued to this group of friends she met online. Me, I'm just an average dude with a desk job, trying to keep things stable. Sarah's been distant for months, and I figured it was stress or something. Then last week, she said her parents were seriously ill, both of them, at the same time. She needed to visit them, and since her car's a junker, she asked to borrow my credit card for gas and emergencies. I handed it over, no questions asked. Next thing I know, my bank app's blowing up, hundreds then thousands gone in days. I called her, freaking out, and she swore it was for expensive medicine her parents needed. Her voice sounded shaky, but I bought it. Should have known better. Things got strange quickly after that phone call. My credit card balance kept shrinking fast. On the first day, $500 disappeared. The next day, $1,200 was gone. By the third day, $8,000 had vanished. I do not have a lot of money, so losing that much hurt. Sarah left on Monday. She said her parents were very sick and she needed to visit them in Ohio, a 4-hour drive from our apartment. She took my credit card because hers had no room left due to old debt. I agreed without asking much. Her parents needed help, she said. I trusted her. But the charges did not make sense. I looked at the transactions online. There were gas station purchases, which fit her story. Then I saw other things. $300 at a nail salon, $600 at a boutique, $1,500 at a business called Ocean Breeze Rentals. Those did not look like costs for medicine or emergencies. I called her again on Thursday, feeling nervous, and asked what was happening. She answered, sounding irritated. She repeated that her parents' prescriptions cost a lot, the hospital was charging extra fees, and she had to pay for it all. She promised to explain when she returned, told me to calm down, and ended the call. I sat there, holding my phone, feeling foolish. Something felt wrong, but I did not want to think she would lie about her parents. I kept checking the bank app. By Friday, $10,000 was gone. I could not sleep that night. I wondered how medicine could cost so much, and why she stopped sending me updates like she said she would. I had a bad feeling, but I still wanted to believe her. That was my first error. Sarah and I had been together for 3 years, but the last 6 months were rough. She started hanging out with this group of friends she found on some app, 4 girls, all obsessed with parties and trips. They called themselves a squad, and posted photos constantly. Sarah changed after meeting them. She used to be chill, happy with takeout and movie nights. Now she wanted expensive clothes, weekend getaways, and nights out I could not afford. I work a regular office job, 9 to 5, decent pay but nothing crazy. Sarah's coffee shop gig barely covered her phone bill, so I ended up paying for most things. Rent, groceries, her car repairs. Her friends never chipped in. They would show up at our place, eat our food, and leave. I told Sarah they were using her. She got mad every time. She said they were her real family, the ones who would stick by her no matter what. She told me I could walk away, but they never would. That hurt. We fought about it a lot. I caught her sending them money once, $200 from her account, which was really my money since I covered her bills. She said it was a loan for one girl's rent. I asked when she would get paid back. She yelled that I did not understand friendship. Another time, they planned a girls' night, and Sarah spent $400 on drinks and Ubers. She said it was her turn to treat them. I checked her phone one night, stupid I know, and saw messages. Her friends were asking for cash, guilt-tripping her, saying she owed them for being part of the group. One wrote, "You're not really our friend if you can't help out." Sarah kept giving in. I tried talking to her, saying they were draining her, draining us. She accused me of being controlling. Things got worse from there. She stopped telling me where she was going. She would disappear for hours, come back with shopping bags, and say it was her money. I knew it was not. Our fights turned into screaming matches. I told her to pick, me or them. She said I was selfish for making her choose. That was a month ago. Then her parents got sick, and she took my card. I should have seen it coming. Her friends had her wrapped around their fingers. They knew how to push her buttons, make her feel like she had to prove herself. I thought she was naive, not a liar. But the charges kept piling up, and I started wondering if I was wrong about that. She was not just naive, she was choosing them over me, over everything. I kept hoping she would snap out of it. Instead, she went silent. No texts, no calls, just more charges. By the time I realized how bad it was, she had already burned through half my savings. I was too late. Sarah came back on Sunday, a week after she left. I was waiting in the living room, bank app open, $15,000 total gone. She walked in with a suitcase and a tan. Her skin was dark, like she had been in the sun for days. Ohio in March does not have that kind of weather. She looked surprised to see me home. I usually work late Sundays, but I took off to confront her. She dropped her bag and started talking fast. She said she missed me, that the trip was rough, that her parents were still struggling. I asked why she looked so tanned. She froze, then said she had been outside a lot, helping her mom with errands. I pointed at the credit card charges on my phone, $15,000, including that Miami resort bill. She went quiet. I asked again, calmer this time, where she had been. She sat down, stared at the floor, and admitted it. She never went to Ohio. She went to Miami with her friends. They had planned a group trip months ago, and she did not tell me. She used my card for everything: flights, hotel, food, drinks, even renting a boat. I asked why she lied about her parents. She said her friends pushed her into it. They told her I would say no if she asked, and they doubted she was serious about their friendship. They said a real friend would prove it by going all in. Sarah went along with it. She took my card, made up the sick parents story, and spent the week partying. She said she felt bad at first, but her friends kept saying I would forgive her if I loved her. She repeated that line to me: if I really cared, I would let it go. She spent $15,000 to keep them happy, and now she expected me to be fine with it. I asked about her parents, if they were even sick. She shrugged and said she had not called them in weeks. She did not know how they were. That hit me hard. She lied about everything, trashed my trust, and did not even check on her own family. I told her to pack her stuff and get out. She started crying, calling me selfish, saying I was proving her friends right, that I would abandon her, and they were all she had left. I did not budge. She grabbed her suitcase, still yelling, and left. I locked the door behind her. The apartment felt empty, but I was too angry to care. Later that night, I blocked her number. I did not want excuses. She chose them over me, and I was done after Sarah left. The days dragged on quietly. I went to work, came home, and kept my head down. On Wednesday, I met my buddy Jake at a bar after his shift ended. We grabbed a corner table, ordered some drinks, and he told me what he found out. Sarah's friends ditched her. After I kicked her out, she went to them for help because she had nowhere to stay. Jake said they left her alone once she ran out of money. That was all he knew, no extra details, just that they cut her off. I sat there, holding my glass, feeling anger boil up. Sarah trashed our relationship for people who dropped her the second she was no use to them. I pictured her standing outside their place, confused, maybe scared, but I did not reach out. She chose them over me, and that was her mess to deal with. Jake switched topics, talked about his job, but my mind stayed on Sarah for a bit. I wondered how she was holding up, if she saw their true colors yet. We finished our drinks, and I headed home. Her stuff was still scattered around the apartment, clothes in the closet, a toothbrush by the sink, some books on the shelf. I grabbed a box from the kitchen and started packing it all up. Her shirts smelled like that cheap perfume she liked. I folded them anyway, stacked the books on top, and carried it outside to the curb. The toothbrush went in the trash. Jake texted later, offering to come by and help me clear out more if I needed it. I said yes, figuring it would be faster with two people. The apartment felt strange without her things taking up space. I walked through the rooms, checking for anything I missed. A pair of socks under the couch, a hair tie on the counter. I tossed them too. It was late by then, past midnight. I sat on the couch, staring at the blank TV. Part of me wanted to feel bad for her, but I pushed it down. She made her bed. I turned off the lights and went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up early, made coffee, and got ready for work. Jake was coming over after his shift. I left the door unlocked for him. Life kept going, and I was not looking back. It was Saturday morning, and I was in the middle of sorting old boxes in the living room. The doorbell rang, sharp and unexpected. I opened it, and there was Sarah. She looked worn out, hair tangled, no makeup, skin pale. She started talking fast, not waiting for me to say anything. She said she was sorry, that she ruined everything. She admitted the Miami trip was a huge mistake, that her friends pressured her into going, and she should have been honest with me. She brought up her parents too, said she called them recently, found out they were fine, never sick at all. She felt ashamed for lying about them to cover her tracks. Her voice shook as she kept going. She said she missed me, missed what we had, and wanted to come back home. She promised to ditch her friends for good, to make things right. She stood there, hands twisting together, eyes red from crying. I leaned against the doorframe, arms folded, taking it in. She looked desperate, like she had nowhere else to turn. I thought about the past, her excuses, how she ran off with them, how she only showed up now after they abandoned her. I told her no. I said I was finished, that she could not just walk back into my life after what she did. She stepped closer, pleading, saying she had no place to stay, that she learned her lesson this time. I shook my head and repeated myself, she was not coming back. She begged again, voice louder, saying I was all she had left. I told her she needed to sort it out herself. She stopped talking, stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked down the hall. I shut the door, locked it, and went back to the boxes. The room was silent again. I pulled out some old photos from one of the stacks, us at a park, her smiling, me next to her. I tossed them in the trash without looking twice. She had her chance, and I was not giving another one. I finished sorting, moved the boxes to the closet, and cleaned up. Later, I went for a walk around the block to clear my head. The air was cool, and the streets were empty. I passed the spot where we used to get coffee together, but I kept walking. When I got back, I made dinner, pasta, nothing fancy, and ate alone. The apartment stayed quiet, and I liked it that way. The next Tuesday, I decided to shake things up. I was tired of the same old pattern, work, home, nothing else. I signed up for a gym near my apartment, a small place with basic equipment. I went after work that day, lifted some weights, ran on the treadmill for 20 minutes. It was hard, but I felt better after. I went back 2 more times that week, starting to get the hang of it. Jake met me for lunch on Thursday and said I seemed different, less tense. I told him the gym helped. I started cooking more too, chicken, rice, vegetables, stuff I never bothered with when Sarah was here. She used to make dinner, but now I enjoyed it. The kitchen stayed clean, no mess from her. I rearranged the living room one night, dragged the couch to face the window, moved the TV to the side. It looked new, like it was mine again. I stopped expecting her to call or text. She had not tried since I sent her away, and I was okay with that. Work got busier. My boss gave me a new project, more meetings, longer days. I took it on, stayed focused. Nights changed too. I watched shows she never liked, action movies and documentaries she would have skipped. The remote was mine now. I slept better, no waking up to check my phone. On Friday, I went to the gym again, pushed myself harder, stayed an hour. A guy there, Mike, started chatting with me about lifting. We traded tips, kept it light. I went home, showered, and crashed early. The next morning, I drove to a hardware store, bought paint, and redid the bedroom walls, gray, simple. It covered the old color she picked. I liked how it turned out. Sunday, I cleaned the whole place, top to bottom, no rush. The gym, the cooking, the small fixes, it all added up. I felt in control again. Jake came by that night, brought pizza, and we watched a game. He asked if I ever thought about Sarah. I said not much, and it was true. She was gone, and I was building something else. I started planning a trip, just me, somewhere quiet. Maybe the mountains. I looked up trails online after Jake left, saved a few names. The days kept moving, and I moved with them. It was late summer now, months since everything went down. I stuck with the gym, got stronger, met a few regulars there, Mike and some others. We nodded at each other, sometimes talked sets and reps. Work settled into a groove, got a small promotion, more work but I handled it. The apartment was all mine, no sign of Sarah anywhere. I saw her once, weeks back, at a grocery store. She was alone, grabbing cereal, head down. I turned around and left before she noticed me. Did not want a scene. Jake mentioned her sometimes, said she was still around town, no word on her old friends. I shrugged, moved the conversation along. I picked up hiking on weekends, found a trail an hour away. It was steep, rocky, but I went every Saturday. The top had a view, trees stretching out, clear sky, no sound but wind. I sat up there once, thought about how it all unfolded. Sarah's lies, her friends, her coming back, it felt distant now. I was not angry anymore, just over it. The hikes cleared my head. I bought better boots, a backpack, started going longer. Work stayed steady, and I liked the routine: gym, trails, home. I cooked a big meal one night, invited Jake and Mike over. We ate, laughed, kept it easy. Sarah never crossed my mind that day. I painted the kitchen too, white, brightened it up. The place felt solid, mine. I stopped wondering about her, what she was doing. Life was full without her. But sometimes I think about people who have been through this, partners or friends who pick the wrong crowd, fall apart, then try to fix it late. I wonder how others deal with that. Sarah's friends left her, she came crawling back, and I said no. Was that right? How do you move on when someone close does that to you? I see posts here sometimes, people asking for advice on breakups, betrayals, starting over. I read them, not alone. Now I want to hear it. Reddit people, what do you think? If your ex or friend pulled this, ditched you for fakes, then begged to return, what would you do? How do you let it go and keep going? I am good now, but I want to know what you all say.